What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to Down to the Wire. I'm your host, Brian Costa, and today I've got yet another exciting interview in store for you. As we get closer to the start of the fall, I wanted to dive back into the college football scene and start by talking with someone that I have gotten to know for a large portion of my own time in college. Joining me on the show today is a Bryant University defensive lineman with an outstanding resume. Last season, he posted 32 tackles through 11 games for the Black and Gold and has served as an anchor of the team's D-line for the past 3 years. He now enters his fifth season as a Bryant Bulldog, and he hails from Putnam Valley, New York. So without any further ado, please welcome to the show, Darnel Shillingford. Darnel, glad to have you here today.
Thank you, Brian. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, Darnell, I had said to you off air, this was a interview that we had done actually like 2 years ago, and this might be to the surprise of a lot of people listening, but we actually did it in a class for a radio class that I did. I think it was, I can actually have the date here. It's November 4th of 2021, so almost 2 years ago now. And we kind of hashed some things out, like we talked about like your career at Bryant up to that point and where things were at. But then, just by kind of dumb luck, we were never able to post that episode. So I'm glad that you're joining us here today. So I'll kind of start things off how we started that last interview off and kind of get to know a little bit about your background. So tell me about how you kind of found out that football was your calling. Kind of take me through that early process with you.
Yeah, it was a little difficult because I played a lot of basketball when I was younger, like growing
Mhm.
up, a lot of
Yeah.
AAU. I really put a lot of time into basketball. So up until probably senior year, I would have thought I was playing basketball in college, but I always played football. My older brother played football at Bryant, and it's been around me, and I really liked it. And I was a lot better at it than basketball, despite not working as hard at it. So I figured maybe it was time for me to switch my cap over to that and put more time into it and try to see where it could take me. And that's kind of how I ended up playing football.
Yeah, so I kind of have to I actually looked up, that was something that we had talked about on our previous episode too. So not only were you outstanding in football back in high school and whatnot, but you also were your basketball team's all-time leading scorer for your school at that time. So what was it like having to make that decision, where you thought you were going to be playing basketball at that next level? What was that thing that made you switch over and say, all right, you know what, football is going to be the best choice for me moving forward?
Yeah, it was a little tough. Basketball, I put so much into it and I really wanted to play it, but football, it yielded me better opportunities educationally. I knew I wanted to do business, and Bryan was the best business school that was on my radar at the time when it was time to make a decision. And aside from that, I felt like it was time for me to try something new per se, and it was tough, definitely, to leave it behind. But I feel like I've gotten over it a little bit, I guess.
Yeah. So then you also mentioned your brother Raheem. He played football at Bryant from 2013 to 17, and he also played a similar position as you. I know he was on the defensive side as well. How much of an influence did he have on you, kind of growing up and molding you into the player that you eventually became?
Yeah, he had a big influence. My brother, he's a big role model of mine for good and for bad, but he he taught me a lot, and it was a lot by example. And he has a very good leadership qualities about him. And football, growing up in my town, like he was kind of the example. So I got the good graces, I guess, to see him off on the field and off the field at home, like learn from him that way. And I learned a lot from him growing up. And it was just always just trying to do what I can to be like him,
Mhm.
essentially. So it was a everyday example as soon as you wake up, which was good for me, I think.
Yeah, it was almost like kind of like that little brother syndrome, trying to live up to the stakes that he's kind of setting forth for you. So, getting the chance to come to Bryant, I know that you mentioned the business aspect of it. But what in terms of the football program really kind of, made you kind of look forward to coming here and suiting up for this team?
Yeah, essentially the football program, it was the only Division 1 opportunity I had football wise. So that was
Mhm.
definitely part of it about why I wanted to pursue it. But also I watched my brother play games here at Bryant while I
Yeah.
was there. Since I was in seventh grade, I was going up to games to watch, and I mean, I was more of a basketball kid, so I watched more NBA stuff like that. But that was the real like taste of college football I really had. Like I didn't watch college football that much, so and the atmosphere, the game day atmosphere is really cool. Even though Bryant's it's not Alabama, it's not Clemson, but it's still a cool opportunity, and I definitely wanted to be part of that.
Mhm.
And then just from the coaches, like I grew to know some of the coaches. Coach S was there while my brother was there, so I knew the coaches were good people, and it was exciting to be a part of that opportunity, especially in a program that has grown a lot from the time that I got there to now. Like it's changed a lot, and it's been cool to be part of that. So
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Bryant, like obviously, it doesn't compare to like some of the big FBS schools that you see down south, but it is a pretty tight-knit community and you get to know people pretty well there. I know that I had some of my own memories that I made throughout my 4 years there. Uh for yourself, it could be memories on the field, off the field. What would be some memorable things that you would take away from your time as a Bulldog so far?
yeah, I mean, one of the more memorable things is just like football. I mean, football wise, it's camp. You know, when you're the only people really there, and you're just with like your brothers the whole time. Like going through something so hard as like football practice, and it's so hot outside, but the times in between, like when you're at lunch, when you're at dinner, when you go back to the dorm, like those are the best moments, I think, best moments of the past 4 years. And then student body wise, like I thought it was a good blend. Like I was fortunate. I lived with people that didn't play football my first year, my first 2 years there. And I was able to build a good bond with them. And then I made friends through them with other people that didn't play football. So I felt I got a good balance of just like experiencing what college was like, football aside, and student life in general. So it was cool.
Yeah, that is something I have been able to, at least as a non-athlete, that I've been able to notice at Bryant, that it's not just like it's not as clicky as a lot of other colleges are, where athletes only hang out with members of their teammates or just different things like that. Obviously, those are the people you're going to gravitate towards more since you have a deeper connection with them. But it is, I have noticed that athletes of different teams or just even non-athletes have really good relationships at that school with each other. So that is something that I can definitely take away with that.
Yeah, it's honestly impressive. I hear from other schools like some people like, oh, I just hang out with my teammates, or I don't even know like people in my class. Like I feel like, especially class wise, because it's smaller class sizes and you're
Mhm.
forced into a lot of groups at Bryant. So you work with people that don't play football, they play field hockey, they play soccer, or whatever it is that they do at Bryant, and it's cool because you get to understand about how other people have to spend their time and what other people are doing. So because like a lot of times we'll be like, oh, these kids don't wake up for practice or they don't wake up for lift. They don't have to do that. But other people, they have jobs, they have clubs, they have Greek life stuff they do. So everyone's busy, and it helps you to understand what other people do with their time.
Yeah, I mean, actually, you mentioned the group projects, and I mean that's the definition of like Bryant classwork. Like you're never gonna go through a semester at Bryant without at least one group project, usually multiple. And that's funny because that's actually how I got the chance to meet you. We met freshman year in a GFOB group, which is
Mm-hmm.
crazy how that kind of all came to be. I know that that was definitely a time that happened before COVID, and then we had to go into quarantine, everything that
Right.
happened in that kind of area. And I know for you, like, as an athlete, I've talked with a lot of different athletes about the challenges that they faced with COVID and whatnot. I know your guys' season got pushed off your sophomore year. So tell me about some of the challenges that you faced at that time in your life.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough, definitely, because you're on the younger side of the team, so you're still trying to like figure out your like spot and like what you're gonna do and like what you need to do in order to like get more reps, play more snaps and stuff like that. So COVID definitely on the surface, it would seem like you kind of are in a whirlwind, but it was good because we still practice a little bit, so you just got time to practice without having to worry about if you're going to play in a game or like what you need to do to play in the game. You just got a good amount of time to get better, and then the spring was a good couple of 4 games we played. That was good just to like get experience. So then that junior year, I felt like our team was ready to hit the ground running compared to some other FB or FCS programs that didn't get the chance to play at all. So it was
Mhm.
good.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely say that like you guys were able to. I mean, I was able to kind of observe some of the games, and you guys were pretty active, like getting at it, and like it was, basically, minus the fans, it was a full kind of game experience. So I was glad you guys were able to get that. And I know at least for you, like COVID wasn't the only kind of challenge that you faced, or kind of battles that you had to go throughout your time at Bryant. I know specifically in one instance, like when you joined Bryant, you were beginning as a tight end and then you made the change to D line. What was that kind of adjustment like for you? I know that, in high school they have you play on both sides of the ball, but to make that change at a Division 1 level is definitely difficult. So kind of give me some insight into that.
Yeah, it was something I was perfectly fine with.
Hmm.
I truthfully, like, I'm someone I like to play. Like, I've always like that's why I like played on a lot of basketball teams when I was younger. I did everything. Like, I just love playing. So it was like simply they thought I would play more if I played D line. So I was going to move there. I had no questions about that. And it was definitely technique wise, like I never really played it in high school. High school, I played linebacker defensively. So I didn't really understand like working with your hands and stuff like that and like the steps and that. So, which it was good that I changed before that sophomore year because in the fall we were just practicing and stuff. So it gave me a good amount of time and reps to actually just practice and learn how to do it. So it was an interesting situation at the time, but I viewed it as if this is what's going to get me on the field faster, then I'll do it. So
Yeah.
worked
No,
out.
yeah. So, I mean, it definitely worked out. I know that you put the work in the weight room. I mean, you've done a lot to improve yourself and, put on mass and get bigger. So, what was that kind of process like to, go through, the whole regimen of, getting bigger, things like that at school? I know that they really emphasize that at college more than anything else. So,
Mm.
how was that for you? What was that kind of whole thing like?
Yeah, it kind of just was like happening, I guess. I
Yeah.
mean, I didn't really like lift a lot in high school, but I
Hmm.
always worked out. Like I did a lot of body weight stuff. I'd like do these like camps and stuff that where you just like work out and do exercises and stuff, but I wouldn't really lift. So my body was like very prepared to like get bigger, I guess you could say. So when I finally got to college, when I came into college, I was 220 that freshman camp year. And then just the lifting regimen that at the time Coach Panini had for us that I kind of just, my body finally saw what it was like to really lift weight. So I put on muscle pretty quickly. And then as I went from 220 to like 240 the end of freshman year, came home just trying to get bigger as well. I got to 250, and that's when I moved to D line. And when I got to D line, I was like, okay, I could pass on the field at 250, but it'd be a lot better if I was bigger. So then it just started getting to the eating. I've never really been someone who like eats a lot, so that's what was tougher for me is just trying to eat more food. So I would just have bigger meals, essentially, just sit down and eat longer, go for seconds every time. So it was tough, but I kind of got used to it, and I tried my best to just keep it as muscle. Like I didn't want to gain some bad weight, but
Yeah.
which isn't easy. You have to like watch what you eat more, but it was a little tough. It took a while. I'm 280 now, so after 4 years, 60 pounds, it's a lot of weight, but it's all good weight, I think. So it was
That's
good.
aw that's awesome. So, other than that, what were some other challenges that you faced when, you had to make that transition from high school to Division 1? And as you've kinda gone throughout these years at Bryant, what were some other challenges that you've had to face on your own at that point?
Yeah, the change from high school to college sports is incredible. To be honest, obviously I only know the change from high school Division 1, but I've talked to other people, Division 2, Division 3. It doesn't really matter the level that you're playing at. It's just the time commitment. Like I feel like you have to really think about if you really love what you're doing, because if you don't love it, it takes up most of your day. So that means most of the time you're not really happy. So definitely like I quickly realized I do love it. I love the grind of football, like having to work hard, having to like do something that other people don't really want to do, and then on Saturdays you get to reap the benefit. But it was definitely a challenge, and for me, a challenge was I always remember this is like the first day of freshman year camp. Like I was like a fifth string on punt return or something like that, and like at my high school it was pretty small. Like all we had was like a two deep at best. I was like I've never been third string in anything,
Yeah.
like I'm in the fifth string. I was like, how do I like climb the ladder over all these people essentially? How do I like get on the field? And it was tough at first. I was like, why did I even sign up for this almost? But I just kept trying to like work hard and like your head down, do what you have to do. And slowly but surely it worked out. I was very fortunate. I got to play on special teams on kick return my last 5 games freshman year. And that was like big for me because like I just think back like 3 months before that, I was probably number 120 out of 120 on the team. So I was proud of myself. I was able to find a way to get there.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. So, I mean, looking at yourself now, like and all that you've accomplished, I mean, if you could look back to that kid that was, coming in freshman year, just looking to get on punt returns, things like that, and this could also serve as, something to say towards other future athletes that are trying to break through and get on the field. What would be some advice that you would give towards them? And if you could, or even give towards your younger self?
Yeah, I would just say you have to figure out like essentially I'd say the best thing is like what you want to do. So like obviously like I'm not gonna like figure out what the quarterback coach wants because I don't play quarterback, but you
Yeah.
have to figure out like what position you want to be in, and then whatever coach is. So Coach S is the special teams coach, and if Coach S is telling the guy who's the one that he needs to get across the field faster and hit his block faster, that when you get your rep, you have to make sure you're doing it fast. Even if you
Hmm.
have the wrong technique on the block, but if what he's looking for is someone to get across the field fast, then you need to be like, all right, that's what I'm going to do. Or if your D line coach is saying, I need someone who's going to hold the double team well, like better, like hold it on the line of scrimmage, then when you get your rep at a double team, make sure you're holding on the line of scrimmage. Even if you have your hands like at the wrong spot, things like more technical stuff, just like I'd say to try to find a way to like do what's being asked for the most because coaches, they're very, they really look at what they want the most, not as exactly the whole thing, but I would say that's probably some good advice, I guess. Some advice I kind of internalized. I think that's what I try to do.
Hmm. I mean, that's actually really good advice, and internalizing all that is definitely a key to is definitely has been a key to your success over these past couple of years. So, kind of going off that, and maybe like advice that you gave to your younger self, and kind of having to process all those things. I kind of wonder, as you enter your fifth season, it's going to be what looks to be your last season of college ball. How has your mindset changed as you enter this season? Knowing that you're going to try to leave it out. Are you going to is it kind of you're thinking, all right, I got to leave it all out on the table, or are you kind of just going in same mindset as always, just trying to keep things kind of even keel?
Um, well, I would say like you can't overwhelm yourself. You
Yeah.
can't be like, this is it. There's like this is it, blah,
Yeah.
like and change what you've been doing because I believe that 4 years ago I was trying to do the right thing all the time. So now you have to do the right thing all the time. You can't
Mhm.
go off the path just because it might be the end. Because also I always believe like I mean football is a dangerous sport nonetheless, but anything could happen any day. Like you never
Yeah.
know. Like one snap, they always say like one snap could be your last snap, which
Yeah.
in football it's very true, but in life is true. So kind of have to like view every day like that. Like this could be the end. So even though like now I know like this is like my last year of like guaranteed football stuff like that, like I definitely am cherishing it a little more, but I've always tried to cherish it my best. So I wouldn't say I'm really trying to just leave it out on the field, but just take it day by day as usual.
Now, you said last year of guaranteed football, and I know that, there's Bryant University definitely has a history of its players being able to go on and play at the professional level, whether that be in the NFL or even some guys recently going up to Canada to play in the CFL. Do you have any aspirations to continue playing after you're done with college, or where does that stand as of right now?
Yeah, I always said I wanted to play football as long as I can, which was part of my decision when I decided between football and basketball. I was like, I
Mhm.
can always go play pickup basketball with my friends. Obviously, that's not like a college setting, but still, it's playing basketball. Football, you can't really play pickup football. Like
No.
once it's over, it's over. So I would definitely try to do what I can to pursue to play football at the next level, just because keep it going as long as possible. I love the idea of, football being your job. I feel like it's a little more exciting than a desk job. While it might be a little more dangerous, but it would be cool and definitely a level that a few years ago I didn't see myself possibly doing. So if I was able to accomplish that, I know my past self would be quite proud. So
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that, with all the work that you've put in, you definitely set yourself up to have the chance to move on and play professionally. I think that a team would be, knowing you and just knowing what you bring off the field as well as your talents on the field. I think that they would be wise to bring you in and at least give you a shot.
thank you.
Yeah. So to kind of go on to that, I mean, as you guys get ready to start this season at Bryant, I know that last year you guys made the jump from going from the NEC to playing actually in the Big South, so having to go against some schools from down south and dealing with that. How was that adjustment for you? I know that that was I talked to some of your other teammates and some of them said like, "Oh, we're going to be just fine in the Big South. We're going to hold our own. We're going to do our own thing." So what was your kind of reaction to having to step up to a new conference like that?
Yeah, I think we handled it well playing wise.
Mhm,
Um, the biggest difference is definitely the size of the O line and the D
mhm.
line is definitely at the skill position, which you could see like our guys matched up very well. And the O linemen, they're a little bigger, but and in the NEC you had every O line had like one guy that, you can try and kind of game plan like our defenses, we would game plan like try to go at this guy, try to blitz on his side. In the Big South, no O line really has that. It's very rare. Maybe like one or two times this year, we found a guy that we could probably say, well, let's try to blitz on his side, do stuff like that. So you definitely have to bring your A game a lot more in the Big South. And this year we'll be combining with the OVC. So it's even a bigger competition, better competition. So it'll be interesting this year. But I think we'll be fine. We've handled it well, adversity and stuff in the past well, so we should this
So
year.
so the OBC, I wasn't actually too familiar with that. Could you kind of explain a little bit about that merger going on?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about it. I
Sure.
mean, I know it's definitely happening, but it's like SEMO, I know Southeast Missouri. I think Lindenwood was in the OVC, so the Big South and OVC combined, because some teams left the Big South, like Campbell left, I believe. And so it's kind of just combining the two conferences, try to make a big enough league. So there's some good conference games going still.
So are they going to form a new like conference or is it just going to be the Big South still?
I think it's actually called the Big South OVC Conference,
Oh my God.
from my understanding. That's what
Sound
I believe it's called.
It sounds like one of those bowl games that has like one of those ridiculous like sponsors. It's like the
Yeah.
Capital One, like Intuit QuickBooks, like blah blah blah, like bowl
Mhm.
game. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about it. I just know it's happened.
Yeah.
I don't know details.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's awesome to see that you guys are going to have some new competition to go up against. I know you guys are actually starting your season with some pretty exciting news. I know you guys will be going out to Las Vegas to face UNLV, an FBS opponent in the Raiders' own home stadium in Allegiant Stadium. So that's amazing that you guys are going to get to play on, really great playing surface like that.
Mhm.
How has the reception around the team been about getting to start your season out there? How have things been with that?
Um, I would say we're pretty confident. We believe we can win this game.
Yeah.
We This is going to be our third FBS opponent in Bryant history, I believe.
Mhm.
We played Akron 2 years ago. We were tied 14-14 with them going into the fourth. Ended up pulling away. We went to FIU last year. We took them to overtime. We lost by one. So we feel like we've been knocking on the door the past 2-3 years, and we feel like we've worked hard enough. We're still working hard. We obviously need to do more once August comes, but we believe we can get the first FBS win. So we're
Yeah.
excited for it. It'll be cool, especially in an environment like that where the Raiders play. Like obviously none of us are bit played in a stadium like that. We hope it really fills up, be a memorable time.
Yeah. I mean, I when I heard the news about that, I was really excited for you guys. So, I'm amped to see how you guys do out there with that. But, for yourself as you get ready to, head into this year, what are some goals that you have for yourself, both on and off the field?
Yeah, on the field, I mean, it's cliche, I know, but I really just want to win. Like
Yeah.
we were definitely very close to winning the NEC our junior year. We should have won that, and we've played good football. It's been a lot different. I watched my brother, in 2014, he should have won as well. So it's tough to say you should have won, and it's real. I've never been a part of a championship team. I feel like I've been on teams that are champions, but we never held up the trophy. We never got the ring. So to me, it's just doing whatever I can to help the team win. It doesn't happen at the end. It happens each game. You have to go into it the same way, respect each opponent the proper way. So just trying to help my teammates do the right thing so we could win the game each week. That's my goal to be at. then off the field, I'm excited for the MBA program. Fortunate to have the opportunity to be able to study at Bryant again for another year and a half to do the program and just learn from some world-class professors. It's a good program there, so I've heard. And I think I'm going to do the FinTech one, which is a new program they have. And I feel like that would be cool just to be part of a new MBA program, financial technology, something that's really growing in the world, something I have good aspirations for and want to learn more about. So I'm excited for that. Just start classes and learn.
Yeah, I know that finance has definitely been something that's been of interest to you. Obviously mentioning it now, but just this past spring, you had the chance to sit down with former, all pro running back Brian Westbrook on his Difference Makers podcast and talk with him about, finance and as you get ready to enter the corporate world. And, also kind of, talk about how like NIL kind of set you up with that. So, I'll kind of start like what was that whole experience like just in general and what are and like I'll let you kind of maybe talk a little bit more about your aspirations in finance.
Yeah. So the program I was with is called Zinx, ZIYNX, and it's like they're
Mhm.
making a platform for jobs and companies that are looking to hire athletes because
Mhm.
athletes statistically go on to do very well in the workforce once they're done with their college sports. So they're trying
Yeah.
to highlight athletes and all their capabilities. But the issue a lot of athletes face is they don't do as many resume building things like internships, stuff like that, clubs, other things that companies may look for because of their practices and stuff. And oftentimes they're just too busy to do stuff like that. So Zinx is trying to highlight the athletes and show their benefits to corporations that value the benefits that athletes bring in terms of just being goal oriented and stuff like that. So it was interesting how I got that opportunity. One of my friends on the team, Brandon Coward, his neighbor is friends with the guy who founded this company, Joe Carney. He worked
Oh
for
wow.
ESPN, MLB. He worked with Derek Jeter on the Players Tribune. He did a lot of stuff, and he's very passionate about the athlete and trying to highlight them. So that's why he founded this company. And his neighbor asked my friend Brandon if he wanted to be in the first, like, just start up and meet Joe and help him out with stuff. And but Joe was looking for people who were juniors and seniors at the time. And at the time, I was a junior, so Brandon just passed my name along. I met Joe and we hit it off. It was a good relationship. And then this past January, late December, January, he reached out to me and said he's having a student marketing program for it. So just to get athletes on the app and stuff like that. And I'm pretty passionate about the topic because it kind of aligns with the thesis I did at Bryant for the honors program. It's about like financial literacy and preparedness for college and professional athletes and like how to prepare themselves for when they go to the workforce. So I felt like it was an opportunity I had to take. So it was cool just to like be on that side of like trying to get people on the app and help them see the benefits, like all my friends, like teammates and stuff from other schools, college athletes. It was cool to do that. And then Joe had a partnership with Pepsi to make a Difference Makers podcast, as you said, talking about how athletes prepare for the corporate world. And he picked four of us to go. We went to Brooklyn and we sat down with Brian Westbrook, did interviews just about how we're setting ourselves up for the corporate world and how what we learned throughout college has helped us to do that. And it was definitely a really good opportunity. It was cool to do that video. Like I've had a couple people reach out to me and say how they saw the video and stuff and they liked the topic and things like that. And what I liked about it is as my thesis that I'm doing and I'm currently still working on it even after the fact, it's something I'm very passionate about, and I think it should be talked about more because athletes do have a good potential to do very big things. So um, I'm glad that I have like something to showcase for it, some like video I could show people and say like this is why I believe in things a certain way. And it was a cool experience nonetheless because I mean I got to meet Brian Westbrook and all that he's done. He's done a lot of investing after the fact, private equity, stuff like that. So it's
Mhm.
just cool to be in his presence and learn from him for an afternoon, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean that's awesome, man. I saw like that video of you when I was like getting ready to, start this interview process over again. And I was like it's unbelievable what you've been able to do over these past 2 years too. So, I mean, just to kind of, kind of go off that like um you would talk to me about off the air, we had mentioned kind of like the benefits that NIL and all the name, image, likeness things have had for athletes. Have you been able to get into any of that, or just have you kind of just been looking at it from afar as of right now?
Yeah, I mean, I've done some stuff. I'm not Bryce Young, Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
Fortunately, I'm not making $1 million and stuff, but it's cool just to like, be able to use your presence, however big or how small it may be. And like, I've done some small stuff, like some wristband stuff and like other things. And the Zincs thing was an NIL thing within
yeah,
itself as well. And I mean, a couple $100 makes a difference to me. Like,
exactly.
it's money I wouldn't have had either way. So, I think it's cool. I think more athletes should take advantage of it. I feel like athletes, even at our level, but even Division 2 level, Division 3 level, they think like, oh, I'm not Bryce Young, so I'm not going to make serious NIL money because those guys do make serious
Serious
money,
money.
hundred thousands, $1 millions. But I'd be fine with $300. So you just reach out to companies, ask them, do you have a program? They do, then they send you a little code, share it to some people, make a couple extra dollars. It's enough for me, and I think it's been good. I think there's definitely some wild things going on at higher levels than us. A
Yeah,
lot of boosters giving a lot of money, making people switch over, like Jordan Addison last year. But I think if there's a little regulation on that, and then at the smaller levels, it doesn't hurt. I know some of our guys, they have a partnership with like New Level Nutrition right down the road from Bryant. And it's simple as, they go in there, they post it on their story, they get a free shake or anything like that. Like, it goes a long way
yeah.
financially and just presence, social media presence wise.
I've seen a couple of guys on the Bryant basketball team. They have their own like smoothies down the street as well. Like they have
Yeah.
different things like that. So, you are able to get your impact and definitely get your name out there. Even at a smaller school. So, what do you think is probably the next step that is going to happen in terms of name, image, and likeness? What do you think that that next thing that people are going to be able to do to really increase their own financial well being?
Yeah. I would say for people to increase their financial well being, I think it'll be a lot more and you've seen it a little bit even at Bryant, like companies or like people forming a company and coming to Bryant and
Yeah,
saying sign up and then we'll find the partnerships for you and just bring them to you. I think you'll see a little more of that, a little more regulation of that. And it's not so much athletes trying to go to like whatever it is, Chipotle and asking themselves. Chipotle will just say, we'll give this company, X company, whatever, $2,000, go find us 5 athletes from Bryant and we'll pay them whatever a month or we'll give them free bowls every month. So things like that. I feel like that's a good way to facilitate it. It makes it a little easier on the athlete because, as we said, like with jobs and stuff, they may not have the time to be looking for NIL opportunities all the time. So I
yeah.
think that's the next step for that will help most athletes.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I think that's I mean, I know that at least Brian has had some success doing that, and also just different kids on campus being able, like you said, to be able to start businesses and make money in their own way has been really critical in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to ask you, you mentioned during the interview, like during that interview, like different things that you're hoping to accomplish for yourself. So whether you get the chance to play professional football or not, it does eventually come to an end and you do have to look towards that next thing. So, with all the, experience that you have going into finance and different things like that, what are you looking to do when you do hang up the cleats?
Yeah. It's a tough question because I'm very ambitious. So
Yeah.
I think of a lot of different things that I might be able to do, but I'm definitely just passionate about investing in general, not
Mhm.
necessarily always the stock market, but investing in businesses, stuff like that.
Sure.
And I want to take advantage of what I've learned so far for sure and use that to position myself, my family to do things that are kind of beyond what you could imagine, whatever it may be. Like it's hard to like for me to say what I definitely want to do, but I want to invest in general businesses and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely appreciate that. But so yeah, I mean, Darnell, as we go, I guess I got to just see like you mentioned, how the team feels going into the UNLV game, and also just how they feel, about the change in competition. So, If you had, some, last minute thoughts on the team, different things like that, what are your expectations for this year?
I think we should have a very good year. I think how the team has changed a lot is the depth. I feel like we have a lot of guys that can really make a difference. So I think hopefully what I hope for is just a lot of guys going in and out of the game, a lot of guys making their presence felt, everyone staying healthy, everyone staying fresh. I think offensive and defensively, we have a lot of talent on both sides. So I hope a lot of guys get to showcase it this year. Be
Absolutely.
exciting.
Absolutely. So Darnell, as we start to go now, we are now officially down to the wire, which means that we're gonna wrap up what we talked about in this episode and send all you great listeners on your way. So before you do that, if you guys want to follow Down to the Wire, we are available on all streaming platforms, whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and more. We also have a YouTube channel, and you can access all of those links in our bio in our Instagram account at down.to-the-wire. So go check that out on Instagram. Darnell, is there anything that you want to shout out for yourself, whether it be social media, different things like that regarding the team?
Um, I'm all good. I guess follow Bryant football. Riley Conger, a student at Bryant, she does a great job taking pictures and making videos for us on Instagram and TikTok. So definitely follow her there and just follow along the journey.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, Darnell. Thank you so much for sitting down with me again. I'm glad that we were able to actually capture this on video this time and get this up there for the world to see. So, from Down to the Wire, I'm Brian Costa.
I'm Darnell Shillingford.
And we hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Take care and peace out.